All right, folks, welcome to our third monthly community contributor meeting for Pulumi and the Pulumiverse. My name is Laura Santa Maria. I'm a developer advocate at Pulumi, and I am your moderator, though I'm not necessarily going to be the one talking all the time. I'm mostly just here to help make sure everyone is heard and keep the conversation rolling. Please do remember that we do have a code of conduct, and this meeting does fall underneath that. In short, be excellent to one another. If you would like to read more about that code of conduct, please do head to the agenda. You'll find it linked at the very top. On that note, if you are uncomfortable being on video or on audio, please do mute your video, mute your sound, because this will be posted publicly to YouTube, and you're welcome to leave me a note in the chat and I will read it out for you if you would like to participate. That being said, I don't have a ton of announcements, but I hear that we're going to talk a little bit about the Pulumiverse board meeting today. And why don't we just kind of get started, and I will let y'all start giving me a little bit of an update on where we are with the Pulumiverse.
Hey, hello everyone. So talking about Pulumiverse, so first of all, my name is Ringo. I also work for Pulumi, but I also wear a double hat, meaning together with Simon, we are two of the board members of Pulumiverse. And yesterday we had a board meeting. We had a write-up while we had our board meeting. Now that was in a Google document, and it's still to be converted into a markdown file, which we commit publicly in our GitHub organization. So for all the transparency around this. But let us maybe go over what was discussed. First of all, we had, let's say, a long-standing pull request around adding a contribution guideline document. Over time, there were some talks about it. Now, eventually, yesterday, we had it confirmed and approved. So we have an organization-wide contribution document. And we have an additional ticket already for some minor modifications to it, which we discussed also during meeting. It's more around whether or not something could be seen as a rule rather than a guideline. So we want to make a clarification around that. Now, one of the topics of that contribution is that we would favor to work with conventional commits. And I've never worked with such a setup. So Simon had, and I asked if later on he could do maybe a demo on his experience with these tools. So that also passed by as input for further setup, probably on how we can, with the further setup, meaning that we can also support the people maintaining code under the Pulumiverse wings with such a setup, so that not everyone has to learn it from scratch. Then it was a while since we had our board meeting. So it was a bit of a call on my side to reiterate maybe on what we want Pulumiverse to be or to become. Yeah. It was a refresher in to say a bit. And I think it was still a bit in the likewise in what we all had in mind, meaning that this is to become, first of all, a community of people. Yeah. A community working together on things which, of course, are related to Pulumi, with the intention that things which come under the umbrella of Pulumiverse, that these are well maintained. And well maintained, meaning that we definitely have those minimum requirements of 2 maintainers for a certain piece, so that things don't become stale, and that eventually, if an update is needed, that such an update to one piece of technology becomes available. that's actually what, as board members, we want to advocate and promote. And you will more and more see us doing that, that we will have a call for additional maintainers, that we will probably report on where and in which area we are still missing maintainers, etc. So that's where we will then create a backlog of tasks for us to do around building up the community.
And can I just add, Ringo, that there is we're looking for everyone that can contribute. You're right. This is Pulumiverse is meant to be, and I think Pulumi put it nicely now, that it's a community thing. That's what it is. First and foremost, it's not just a place where we have providers, right? It's not about repositories and providers and technical stuff. That's just what we do as a community, but we have to think about the community. And so everyone, like I brought examples during the board meeting that we have Anne, right? She made a mascot and she made a logo for Pulumiverse. That is a contributor, right? So everyone who feels like they just want to give to this community and be a part of it is welcome to do so. So that's what we're really important for us to say.
One of the easy contributions, for example, is to the awesome Pulumi list, which is also under the Pulumiverse organization. So even contributing a link to a blog article is definitely helpful, because these awesome, the different awesome lists are typically scanned by a lot of people coming to new technology. Yeah. And maybe not even adding a new link, but helping out with maybe restructuring it a bit for easier access. Simple things, but very, let's say, low profile. You don't need necessarily a lot of coding skills around this, but it definitely helps out for people to find maybe a better structured awesome list. Yeah. Few examples. So also we are going to kick off more community meetings around Pulumiverse as well, which we will combine, let's say, in a single call with the board meeting. So sort of start off with a small board meeting and then let all the contributors jump in and see where things can be done. I also asking questions around, yeah, towards each other, whatever. So really an open get together to see where we can make progress on things. So we will start off with the first one and see from there how what the repetition will be, the time frame, maybe also the moment during the day to make sure that we can have a good attendance around that as well. But that will be planned and also discussed during that first call. So probably maybe the first call is not the optimal moment for everyone, but I hope we can hear it from certain people if we need to reschedule to other days, other day in the week, another moment during the day, and so on.
We have already learned that time zones is a real hassle, right? The Pulumiverse organization has the board in itself have people from New Zealand, right? Yep. And Europe and US. So it's already someone waking up really early in the morning. Yeah.
Indeed.
So and we also decided I think maybe we decided, I don't know how it is going to pan out, but so the ones that is in the mid of day, sort of the one with most energy based on time zone, is the one hosting the community efforts. So let's see how that pans out. But yeah, we're gonna probably gonna give out the date for when this meeting will be, and the ones that's going to be sort of specially invited to this, or we're going to make sure that attends are the people who are sort of actively contributing to Pulumiverse. at this point, and also like the first nice really gathering of everyone has taken an effort to join the community. So yeah, it's going to be good.
So I have a question for you. As someone who has dealt with lots of time zones all around the world in other scenarios, do you think you'll be like switching out different times, or you think it will always be the same time? Because I've always found it helpful, like if every like 3 months you switch so that somebody doesn't have to be the one getting up early and, kind of move around so that the time zone moves around. What's your plan on that? Do you know yet?
I think we know in a way.
Okay,
We're probably gonna move it around, like you said. So yes.
Yeah, that's also my assumption that that will become the case. Yes. So to continue on what we discussed, we also had, let's say, some technical things that we discussed. First of all, we do have a number of providers under our umbrella for which generated SDK packages need to be published. That means that we have accounts, we have credentials, and we got a free subscription to 1Password to manage that. Yeah. For if you don't know about that, for open communities, there is a plan on 1Password that you can sign up for. You get a free team subscription. Now, they also have a Slack channel that you can sign up for. And I discussed a certain use case that I wanted to create and use more teams, groups, the teams concept in 1Password. And all of a sudden, even without asking, they upgraded us to a business edition. So works. So if it's of interest to other communities you were in, I can post a link afterwards for maybe the notes or something, Laura. There is a GitHub project where you can create a pull request if you want to subscribe to that service. So I'll pass it on to you. But then we discussed how we would leverage also the use of 1Password to make sure that, for example, provider maintainers could have credentials to test, for example, the publishing of these packages without having without the need to provide them the master keys. And that's how we could structure then 1Password to support such a scenario. Also, we have the Pulumiverse Twitter account. I'm looking into also giving the board shared access to that Twitter account. Yeah, still have to look around. I mentioned I had a paid Hootsuite plan, but it doesn't seem to offer additional team members so far. So I'm looking around. There will be a solution coming definitely, but not at this very moment.
So Ringo, just so that you know, because I've done this quite a bit, if you use the TweetDeck, you can actually give people access to it through TweetDeck without necessarily handing out keys. So that might be one way to give people shared access. They just have to access it through TweetDeck, just for Twitter, and it's free. We use that a lot on some of the DevOps Days organizations I've been part of. So reach out to me if you need more information. I will happily share more links.
Thank you. I think that's about it, what we discussed. In global, the write-up, as mentioned, will come publicly. Simon, I don't know if I missed something, and if I did, please step in.
I think you summarized it well.
All right, thank you. So that was it for me for an update on the Pulumiverse.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the update. If anybody has any questions or other comments, you're welcome to either unmute or leave a note in chat. We'll take a second. I'm seeing head shaking and thumbs up. So I think we're probably pretty good here. With that, we don't really have a ton of topics to talk about other than that update. So unless anybody wants to propose a topic right now, I'm going to let people get off early. But does
I
anybody
have
have
one
anything they'd
thing.
love to talk about? Yeah, let's talk about it.
So, Pulumi created a eslint plugin just recently,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Have everyone seen that? No, this is
I
okay. So if you're writing in TypeScript, that's essential here, or JavaScript maybe as well. Now you can create. Now you can add a eslint rule, and it's really basic right now. But what it gives you is a it makes sure that you're putting the interpolation on things that you have imported, which is really cool. So, and this is a good starting point. There's probably going to be added a lot of rules that are very specific to Pulumi, but right now this is very early on, right? This code is thrown together. So I think people should try it, install it, and use it so that we can, improve on it. Yeah.
That's super cool. Thanks for filling us in.
Yeah.
One note on that, I don't know the feasibility of this, as I don't know too much about writing ESLint plugins, but it would be really cool if there was a plugin to let you know if you haven't parented a child resource when you are creating a new custom resource, as that has happened before. Doesn't really make a big functional change, but would be neat if that was possible. Maybe I'll look into it.
Yeah. And you can also just open issues here, right? We need a backlog for this as well. So.
Awesome.
The fun thing that, just to give you a little story on this was an issue that was created long ago. And I think the original poster don't even worry about it anymore. It's become sort of a very old issue. And then me and a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, Martin, we started hacking a little bit on this. Like none of us, just like you, Sean, haven't written any ESLint rules lately or at all, honestly. So we took a stab at this. We created sort of this hacky function that we have now been using for, I would say, a better part of a year. And Martin, he wanted to get down into the details of it, make it better before he published it, right? And push the code to a public repository. And I've been trying to get him to do it, right, for a long time. And all of a sudden, Pulumi creates their own repository and does just what we wanted to do for so long. Published it and in a much better form. This the one that Pulumi has created is even has the fix. So you can do eslint -- fix and it will fix your problems automatically. So really nice.
Super cool.
All right, excellent. If you could send me a link to that after we're done at some point, I'll make sure it gets into the notes so that people have it. And I'll make sure it also ends up on the YouTube video down in the description for those of you watching. I will make sure it gets linked there. So, oh, perfect. Thank you. I will grab that link out of the Zoom chat and I'm going to put it in here. And I will make sure, if for those of you listening, that I will get that all posted up where it needs to go.
To complement on for the JavaScript and TypeScript developers, to complement if people are doing in need of something similar for .NET, one of our colleagues at Pulumi created the C# static analyzer, which also does a bit of the same. Now, if you have a component, for example, and you forgot to parent your child resources, it also gives you the same support.
Very cool.
Yeah, this is nice.
Sweet. I will also put that in the notes. And again, that will also get onto the link for the YouTube video. Very cool. By the way, for those of you listening, if this is something that you're really interested in and you want to build it for another language or anything like that, just a hint that maybe that might be something to contribute to as well. And you can come join our next community meeting and talk about it. So get some help, start playing around with it. It'd be great. We welcome that. Awesome. Anybody else have any last tidbits? If not, I'm going to give you all about 30 minutes back.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Awesome. Well,
Yep.
thank you all for joining us this round, and we'll see you next month for the next monthly contributor meeting. If you're interested in joining us, come on and join the Pulumi Slack. I'll leave a link down in the description, and you can find us in the Contribute channel or the Pulumiverse channel or any of the other channels. Just come find us and we will be there. So thank you all for joining us, and y'all have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.